The champagne glass shattered across the marble floor just as Adrian Moretti grabbed Evelyn Carter's wrist. "Stay beside him tonight." Then the most powerful woman in the ballroom collapsed into her arms. Music stopped. Conversations died instantly. And through the chaos, one man moved toward them without panic. Adrian Moretti. Cold green eyes. Black suit. The kind of silence that made an entire room step aside before he even spoke. Evelyn should have left that night. Instead, she found herself trapped inside the Moretti penthouse while storms swallowed Manhattan outside, and secrets started breathing through the walls. A missing woman. A portrait that looked exactly like her. And whispers about a truth buried for 23 years. But the moment Adrian realizes dangerous men are searching for Evelyn too, everything changes. And if this story stays with you, hit subscribe and drop a comment if something doesn't sit right with you. And now we begin.
The powerful never ask twice unless they're afraid of losing something. Rain slid down the 30-foot glass windows of the Moretti Grand Ballroom like silver threads melting beneath Manhattan's midnight lights. Everything inside the gala shimmered. Crystal chandeliers, black tuxedos, diamonds catching candlelight like tiny explosions. I stood near the piano in a borrowed black dress that suddenly felt too small for the room and too cheap for the people inside it. My fingers hovered above the ivory keys while conversations drifted through the ballroom in low-polished voices about stock markets, political donations, and summer homes in the Hamptons. I wasn't supposed to be here. The regular pianist had collapsed from food poisoning less than an hour before the event, and my music instructor had called me in as an emergency replacement because apparently rich people couldn't survive a birthday gala without live Chopin. "Just play quietly and don't attract attention," she'd warned me before hanging up. That advice died the second he walked in. The room changed first. Conversations slowed. Men straightened instinctively. Women lowered their voices. Even the servers carrying champagne trays suddenly moved with sharper precision. I looked up from the piano and saw him near the entrance beneath the gold light of the chandeliers. Adrian Moretti. Tall. Dark suit tailored perfectly against broad shoulders. Black hair brushed neatly away from a face too calm to belong to someone that dangerous. He didn't need security announcing him. The silence around him did it for free. His pale green eyes swept across the ballroom once, cold and unreadable, before landing briefly on the woman at the center table. Adrian Moretti. His mother. Tonight's guest of honor. She smiled at him warmly, but Adrian barely nodded before taking a glass of whiskey from a passing waiter. Something about the distance between them unsettled me more than his reputation ever could. I tried focusing on the piano again, but I could feel him somewhere behind me like a storm cloud waiting to break. Halfway through Moonlight Sonata, I noticed Vivian watching me instead of the guests around her. Not casually, intently, like she recognized something she couldn't quite believe. The look stayed with me for the next hour. Every time I glanced up, she was still watching. Midnight arrived beneath applause and the soft clinking of champagne glasses. Vivian stood near the massive birthday cake while cameras flashed around her. Adrian remained several feet away, expression distant, one hand resting inside his pocket like he was already planning his escape. Then Vivian suddenly stepped away from the crowd and walked directly toward me. The ballroom noise faded beneath the pounding in my chest. Up close, she smelled faintly of roses and expensive perfume. Her elegant fingers wrapped gently around my wrist before she leaned closer, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "Stay beside him tonight." I blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry." Her eyes softened with something painfully close to fear. "Please." Before I could answer, the champagne glass slipped from her hand and shattered across the marble floor. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. Vivian swayed once before collapsing against me. The music stopped. Somewhere across the room, Adrian Moretti moved faster than anyone else. And when his eyes locked onto mine as I held his unconscious mother in my arms, I realized I had just stepped into something far more dangerous than a birthday gala. The sound of shattering crystal echoed through the ballroom long after Adrian Moretti collapsed into my arms. 1 second she had been standing beside me beneath the chandelier light, elegant and composed in silver silk. The next, her body went weak against mine while frightened voices rose around us like waves crashing against glass. I barely had time to steady her before Adrian Moretti reached us. He moved through the crowd with terrifying calm. No panic. No shouting. just controlled urgency that made everyone immediately step aside. "Call Dr. Keller," he ordered quietly, kneeling beside his mother on the marble floor. Even his voice carried authority sharp enough to cut through the chaos. I stepped back instinctively, my hands trembling as I stared at the smear of champagne soaking into my sleeves. Vivian's eyes fluttered open briefly. Her fingers reached toward Adrian's wrist. "Do not leave her alone tonight," she whispered weakly. I was not even sure whether she meant me or herself before the paramedics arrived. The ballroom transformed within minutes. Guests disappeared behind polite excuses and expensive coats while security quietly sealed the exits. Staff members cleaned broken glass as if nothing had happened at all. Wealthy people had a strange talent for hiding disaster beneath good lighting and quiet music. I stood near the piano frozen in place until a man in a dark charcoal suit approached me. Mid-30s. Sharp jaw. Cold gray eyes. "Miss Carter," he said politely. "Mr. Moretti would like you to come with us." My stomach tightened immediately. To the hospital? To the penthouse? Rain hammered against the black SUV during the drive uptown. Manhattan blurred outside the tinted windows in streaks of gold and white while silence filled every inch of the vehicle. Adrian sat across from me, one arm resting against the leather seat, staring out at the city without speaking. Up close, he looked even more exhausting than intimidating. The kind of exhaustion sleep could not fix. His tie had loosened slightly. One button near his collar remained undone. Tiny details that somehow felt too personal to notice. "You do not have to do this," I said carefully after 20 minutes of silence. His eyes shifted toward me for the first time since we left the gala. Pale green. Sharp enough to make my pulse stumble. "My mother asked for you. She barely knows me. Vivian Moretti does not ask twice unless she means it." The SUV pulled beneath a private underground entrance guarded by 2 security gates. The building itself rose nearly 80 stories into the rainy sky overlooking Central Park. Everything inside the penthouse felt quiet in a way expensive places often did. Soft lighting. Marble floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city below like another universe entirely. Yet despite the luxury, the place felt empty. Not physically. Emotionally. Adrian loosened his cufflinks while one of the staff members approached him quietly. "The doctors stabilized her condition, sir." For the first time all night, something inside Adrian cracked. It lasted less than 2 seconds. A slight lowering of his head. One slow breath. But I saw it. Relief so intense it almost looked painful. He noticed me watching him and the wall immediately returned behind his eyes. "Your room is upstairs," he said flatly. "You will stay here tonight." I should have refused. Every instinct told me to leave before I became tangled in whatever darkness surrounded the Moretti family. But then Adrian looked toward the rain-covered windows like a man carrying the weight of an entire city alone, and suddenly Vivian's whispered words no longer felt random. Sleep never came easily inside the Moretti penthouse. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way Manhattan glowed beyond the massive windows like a city that never truly rested. Or maybe it was the feeling that every hallway inside this place carried secrets expensive enough to bury people alive. I stood barefoot near the guest room window sometime after 2 in the morning, staring down at the rain sliding across Central Park 70 floors below. My black dress from the gala still hung over the chair beside me, wrinkled and smelling faintly of champagne. None of this felt real. 12 hours ago I had been practicing piano scales in my tiny Brooklyn apartment, while eating microwaved soup from a paper cup. Now I was inside one of the most powerful homes in New York, because a woman I barely knew had whispered something that still echoed inside my chest. "Stay beside him tonight." A soft sound pulled me from my thoughts. Voices. Low and distant somewhere beyond the hallway. I opened the guest room door carefully and stepped onto the marble floor. The penthouse remained dim except for warm golden lights glowing beneath wall sconces. Expensive artwork lined the hallway beside black and white family photographs that somehow felt more intimate than the paintings themselves. I followed the voices unintentionally until I reached the far end of the corridor. That was when I saw the portrait. It hung alone beneath a chandelier at the center of a private sitting room. A woman painted in soft oil strokes. Dark blonde hair. Pale skin. Green eyes filled with quiet sadness. My breath caught so sharply it hurt. She looked like me. Not exactly. but enough to make my stomach tighten. Same eyes, same mouth, same strange curve near the chin. I stepped closer without thinking. A tiny brass plaque beneath the frame read Isabella Moretti, 1998. You should not be in here. Adrian's voice froze me instantly. I turned too fast and nearly collided with him. He stood in the doorway wearing dark slacks and a black dress shirt with the sleeves rolled halfway up his forearms. Without the tuxedo and ballroom lighting, he somehow looked even more dangerous. Less polished. More real. His gaze shifted from me to the portrait behind me, and something unreadable darkened his expression immediately. I got lost, I said quietly. Adrian did not answer right away. He walked past me slowly until he stood directly beneath the painting. For the first time since meeting him, his composure seemed strained. Not broken, just thinner somehow. Who is she? The question escaped before I could stop it. His jaw tightened. Someone this family lost a long time ago. There was finality in his tone sharp enough to warn me away, but my eyes drifted back toward the portrait anyway. She looks familiar. Adrian looked at me then. Really looked at me. The air between us suddenly felt too heavy to breathe properly. Do not ask questions you are not prepared to hear answers to, Evelyn. His voice remained calm, but underneath it lived exhaustion so deep it almost sounded painful. Before I could respond, raised voices echoed faintly from another room down the hallway. A woman. Vivian. Weak but angry. You promised me you would tell him the truth. Silence followed before another voice answered low enough that I could barely hear it. Luca. Not tonight. Adrian's entire body went still beside me. Then Vivian spoke again, her voice trembling this time. 23 years is long enough. Adrian shut his eyes briefly like someone forcing down a memory that refused to stay buried. When he opened them again, the wall had returned. Cold. Controlled. Untouchable. Go back to your room, Evelyn. But as I turned to leave, I heard Vivian whisper one final sentence. Through the partially open doorway. She has Isabella's eyes. Morning inside the Moretti penthouse arrived quietly, filtered through gray rain clouds and 70-foot windows overlooking Manhattan. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the portrait in the hallway again. Isabella Moretti. The resemblance sat in the back of my mind like a splinter I could not remove. By 8 o'clock, the penthouse had transformed into something colder and more controlled than the glamorous world I had seen at the gala. Men in tailored suits moved silently through the halls speaking into earpieces. Staff members carried trays of espresso and newspapers while avoiding eye contact. Somewhere beneath the marble floors and expensive artwork, an entire machine was operating with military precision. And at the center of it stood Adrian Moretti. I found him near the kitchen window staring down at the city with a cup of black coffee untouched beside him. He had changed into a charcoal sweater and dark slacks, but exhaustion still shadowed his face. The television mounted above the fireplace played a financial news channel with the volume muted. Your mother asked for me, I said carefully, breaking the silence first. Adrian did not look away from the skyline. Vivian asks for many things. But this feels different. That finally pulled his attention toward me. His pale green eyes studied me for several long seconds like he was trying to solve something impossible. You should go home today, Evelyn. The words surprised me more than they should have. I thought your mother wanted me here. My mother is recovering from a medical emergency. She is emotional. His tone remained controlled, but underneath it I heard tension tightening every word. And you? I asked quietly before I could stop myself. Adrian's jaw shifted slightly. I prefer certainty. The answer stayed with me long after he walked away toward another room filled with men waiting for him. By late afternoon the rain finally stopped. Sunlight slipped through the windows for the first time all day, painting gold across the marble floors. One of the house staff guided me toward Vivian's private sitting room where soft classical music played from hidden speakers. Vivian looked weaker than the night before, wrapped in a cream-colored cashmere blanket near the fireplace. Yet her eyes sharpened the second she saw me. Come here, sweetheart. Her voice carried warmth that felt strangely personal. I sat beside her while she reached for my hand with fragile fingers covered in diamond rings. You play beautifully, she whispered. My sister used to play like that. The room suddenly felt smaller. Isabella? I asked carefully. Vivian's expression changed instantly. Sadness moved through her face like an old wound reopening. She disappeared 23 years ago, she said softly. One terrible night changed everything. Before I could ask another question, the doors opened sharply behind us. Adrian stepped inside with Luca beside him. The atmosphere shifted immediately. Luca handed Adrian a slim black folder while both men noticed me sitting near Vivian at the same exact moment. Adrian's expression hardened almost imperceptibly. Not now, he said coldly to Luca. But Luca hesitated. You need to see this. Adrian opened the folder briefly. His eyes scanned one page before freezing completely. The silence that followed felt dangerous in a way I could not explain. Slowly, Adrian lifted his gaze toward me. Not angry, not shocked. Worse, uncertain. Vivian noticed the change immediately. What is it? She asked quietly. Luca looked between all three of us before answering in a low voice. The preliminary match came back this morning. My pulse stumbled. What match? Adrian closed the folder slowly without taking his eyes off me. That, he said carefully, is exactly what I am trying to figure out. There is something terrifying about realizing powerful people know more about you than you know about yourself. The atmosphere inside the penthouse changed after Luca brought Adrian that folder. Nobody explained anything directly, but I felt it immediately in the way security doubled near the elevators and how conversations stopped whenever I entered a room. Even the staff looked at me differently now. Not warmly, carefully, like I had become part of something dangerous overnight. By evening, the sky over Manhattan had darkened into heavy steel clouds again. Rain tapped softly against the windows while distant thunder rolled beyond the skyline. I sat alone in the library wrapped in silence and the smell of old leather books, trying to understand how my life had spiraled this far out of control in less than 48 hours. I kept replaying Luca's words in my head. The preliminary match came back. Match for what? DNA? Family records? Missing persons? None of it made sense. A quiet knock interrupted my thoughts before Adrian stepped into the room. He loosened his tie as he walked, exhaustion visible in every movement. Yet somehow he still carried himself with the same controlled authority that made entire rooms obey him without question. You skipped dinner, he said calmly. I glanced toward the grandfather clock near the fireplace. Almost 10 o'clock. I was not hungry. Adrian studied me for a moment before placing a plate on the table beside me anyway. Grilled chicken. Roasted vegetables. Simple. Not the extravagant meals I expected from someone like him. My mother believes stress should never happen on an empty stomach, he said quietly. Something about the sentence caught me off guard. It sounded normal. Human. And what do you believe? I asked softly. Adrian's expression shifted faintly, almost amused. I believe people panic when they do not have answers. The rain intensified outside. Water streaked across the windows while lightning flashed somewhere over the Hudson River. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then I finally asked the question that had been sitting like a stone inside my chest all day. Who was Isabella Moretti? Adrian's jaw tightened almost instantly. My aunt. The woman in the portrait. Yes. He walked toward the fireplace slowly, one hand resting inside his pocket. She disappeared when she was 19. Disappeared how? Silence stretched between us. Adrian stared into the fire long enough that I thought he would ignore the question entirely. One night she was there, he said finally. The next morning she was gone. Something in his voice told me the story did not end there. And you think I am connected to her somehow? Adrian looked at me carefully then. Not cold this time. Worse. Uncertain. I think my mother sees ghosts where she wants to. Before I could answer, his phone vibrated sharply in his hand. The shift in his expression happened instantly after reading the message. Every trace of calm disappeared behind something darker. Focused. Dangerous. Adrian looked toward the library doors where Luca suddenly appeared already waiting. What happened? Adrian's voice turned flat. Luca glanced briefly toward me before answering. One of Baron's men was seen outside the building an hour ago. My stomach tightened immediately. Adrian's eyes moved back to mine with terrifying intensity. You are not leaving this penthouse tonight. I do not even know who Barone is. Exactly. He crossed the room toward me, then stopped close enough that I could smell rain and cedarwood on his clothes. Listen to me carefully, Evelyn. If Vincent Barone knows your name, then this stopped being coincidence. Lightning flashed across the windows behind him, illuminating the hard line of his face for one brief second. And coincidences do not survive long in my world. The storm over Manhattan lasted all night. Thunder rolled beyond the windows while rain battered the glass hard enough to sound like fingertips tapping from the outside world. I stayed awake long after Adrian left the library, unable to shake the feeling that invisible walls had started closing around me. Somewhere inside this city, men I had never met suddenly knew my name, and somehow that frightened me less than the look in Adrian Moretti's eyes when he realized it. Around 3 a.m, I gave up trying to sleep. The penthouse sat silent except for the distant hum of elevators and the soft ticking of expensive clocks hidden somewhere beyond the hallways. I wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and wandered toward the kitchen for water. That was when I saw him. Adrian stood alone near the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. No jacket, no tie, just dark sweatpants and a black long-sleeve shirt rolled to his forearms. The city lights reflected across the glass behind him while a half-empty tumbler of whiskey rested untouched near his hand. He looked exhausted in a way I had never seen before. Not physically, emotionally, like someone carrying grief too heavy to put down. "You should sleep," he said quietly without turning around. I stopped beside the kitchen island. "You should too." A faint breath escaped him that almost sounded like a laugh. Almost. Silence settled between us again while lightning flashed over the skyline. Then Adrian spoke so softly I nearly missed it. "My father died when I was 14. The confession startled me enough that I forgot to breathe for a second. Adrian never volunteered personal information. Everything about him felt guarded with steel and concrete. Yet now he stood beside the storm talking to me like someone tired of carrying silence alone. "After that," he continued quietly, "my mother spent years trying to hold this family together while men waited for us to collapse." His eyes remained fixed on the city below. Then Isabella disappeared. The name hung heavily in the air between us. Vivian never recovered from it. I stepped closer carefully. "Do you think she sees Isabella in me?" Adrian finally turned toward me then. His pale green eyes looked darker in the dim kitchen light. "I think my mother wants to believe losing people is not permanent." Something inside my chest tightened painfully at the sadness buried beneath his calm voice. "And what do you believe?" Adrian stared at me for several long seconds before answering. "I believe people leave." The honesty in those 4 words hit harder than anything else he had ever said to me. Before I could respond, his phone vibrated sharply against the marble counter. Adrian glanced at the screen and every muscle in his body immediately tightened. "What happened?" I asked quietly. He ignored the question at first, already typing a response with frightening speed. Then another message appeared. And another. Luca's name flashed repeatedly across the screen. Adrian muttered something under his breath before grabbing his jacket from the nearby chair. "Adrian." He looked up finally. "Barone's people broke into your apartment in Brooklyn 20 minutes ago." Cold spread through me instantly. "What?" The building manager called security after hearing glass break. His voice remained controlled, but underneath it lived something dangerous enough to chill the entire room. "You cannot go back there." My pulse thundered painfully in my ears. Why would anyone do that? Adrian crossed the kitchen toward me slowly until only inches separated us. "Because someone believes you matter to this family." Lightning flashed behind him again, illuminating the sharp lines of his face while rain streaked across the windows like silver tears. "And in my world, Evelyn, people only destroy things they are afraid of losing." By sunrise, the storm had finally passed over Manhattan, but the tension inside the Moretti penthouse only deepened. I sat near the living room windows wrapped in one of Vivian's cashmere blankets, staring at the pale gold light spreading across the skyline while anxiety twisted through my chest hard enough to make breathing feel difficult. My apartment was gone, or at least the version of it that had belonged to my old life was. Someone had broken in searching for something connected to me. And the worst part was realizing Adrian did not seem surprised by it at all. He moved through the penthouse that morning with frightening focus, speaking quietly into phones while men in dark suits came and went from his private office. Every person around him looked tense, alert, like the city itself was holding its breath waiting for something terrible to happen. Around noon, Luca arrived carrying another black folder tucked beneath his arm. The second Adrian saw him, both men disappeared into Vivian's private study without a word. I should have stayed out of it. Every instinct told me the same thing. Leave. Walk away before whatever secret surrounded this family swallowed me whole. But curiosity and fear are dangerous together. They make people brave in all the wrong ways. The study door remained slightly open, just enough for voices to slip through the hallway. The full results came in this morning, Luca said quietly. There is no direct blood match to Isabella. Relief flickered briefly through me before his next sentence. Destroyed it. But Evelyn's mother shares genetic markers connected to the Moretti records from 1998. Silence followed. Heavy. Suffocating. Adrian spoke next, his voice low and controlled. Explain it clearly. Luca exhaled slowly. 23 years ago, Isabella disappeared with someone helping her escape the city. A woman named Grace Carter. My pulse stopped cold. Carter. My last name. According to the records, Grace vanished 6 months later while pregnant. The hallway suddenly tilted beneath me. My hand gripped the wall to steady myself as memories surfaced too fast to process. My mother avoiding questions about family, moving constantly when I was younger, never staying anywhere long enough to feel rooted. Adrian spoke again, quieter this time. Vivian knew. I think she suspected. Luca lowered his voice further. Which means if Barone discovers the connection first, Evelyn becomes leverage against the Morettis whether she wants it or not. My breathing turned shallow. Before I could step away, the floorboard beneath my foot creaked softly. Silence slammed through the room instantly. A second later, the study door opened. Adrian stood there staring directly at me. For one long terrifying moment, neither of us spoke. Then I whispered the only thing my mind could manage. My mother knew Isabella? Adrian looked exhausted suddenly. Not angry, just tired in a way that reached all the way through him. Come inside. The study smelled like cedarwood and old paper. Sunlight cut across the desk while family files and photographs lay spread across the surface. Adrian closed the door behind me quietly before handing me one faded photograph. A young woman stood beside another woman I recognized instantly despite the grainy image and outdated clothes. My mother, 23 years younger, smiling beside Isabella Moretti beneath summer sunlight. Tears burned behind my eyes before I even realized they were there. Why would she hide this from me? Adrian's expression softened almost imperceptibly, because some secrets are meant to keep people alive. I looked up at him then, really looked at him. The exhaustion, the pressure, the loneliness hidden beneath all. That control. And for the first time since entering his world, Adrian Moretti did not look like a feared Mafia boss. He looked like a man terrified history was about to repeat itself. Some truths do not destroy your world all at once. They crack it slowly until everything you believed begins collapsing beneath your feet. I spent the next 2 days inside the Moretti penthouse feeling like a stranger trapped between two lives. One version of me had grown up believing my mother was simply private and cautious after my father died. The other version was now staring at old photographs proving she once stood beside the missing daughter of one of the most feared families in New York. Every answer only created more questions. Vivian improved enough to leave her bedroom by Friday afternoon. She sat near the grand piano in the ballroom lounge wearing soft cream colors that made her appear fragile beneath the golden lights. Yet the moment she saw me enter the room, warmth filled her expression in a way that tightened my chest painfully. Come sit with me, she whispered gently. I joined her beside the piano while rain drifted softly against the windows again. The city looked blurred and silver beyond the glass. Your mother was brave, Vivian said quietly after several moments. Grace saved Isabella when nobody else could. I swallowed hard. Saved her from what? Vivian's fingers trembled slightly against her teacup. From this world. The sadness in her voice felt older than grief itself. Before I could ask another question, raised voices echoed faintly from the hallway outside. Adrian. Luca. Fast footsteps followed by the sharp click of a door shutting. Vivian closed her eyes briefly like someone expecting disappointment before it arrived. "He carries too much alone," she murmured softly. A few minutes later Adrian entered the ballroom lounge. The tension in his body filled the room immediately. His dark coat still carried raindrops across the shoulders while exhaustion shadowed his face deeper than before. Yet the second his eyes found me beside Vivian, something inside his expression softened almost invisibly. "We need to leave tonight," he said calmly. Vivian looked up sharply. "Why?" Adrian hesitated for half a second too long. "Barone hosted a meeting downtown this afternoon." My name came up alongside Evelyn's. Cold spread through me instantly. "I have never even met this man." "You do not need to." Adrian walked toward the window slowly, his hands tightening briefly behind his back. People like Vincent Barone survive by finding weaknesses inside powerful families. Vivian's voice lowered carefully. "And you think Evelyn is yours?" Silence swallowed the room. Adrian did not answer immediately. The storm outside intensified, thunder rolling somewhere over the East River while city lights flickered beneath the rain. Finally, Adrian turned toward us again. "I think anyone connected to this family becomes vulnerable." But something in the way he looked at me made the sentence feel far more personal than that. Later that night, the penthouse grew unusually quiet. Security doubled near the elevators again, while Luca coordinated movements downstairs with sharp efficiency. I stood alone near the ballroom piano trying to calm the storm inside my chest when Adrian appeared beside me unexpectedly. Neither of us spoke at first. The city glowed behind him in soft gold and silver light while distant thunder echoed through the windows. "You should not have been dragged into this," he said quietly. I looked down at the piano keys beneath my fingertips. Maybe I was already part of it before either of us knew. Adrian's jaw tightened faintly. "That is exactly what scares me." The honesty in his voice hit harder than any confession could have. Before I could answer, every light inside the ballroom suddenly cut out at once. Darkness swallowed the penthouse instantly while alarms began echoing somewhere deep below us. And in the darkness beside me, Adrian reached for my hand without hesitation. Darkness changes people. It strips away performance and leaves only instinct behind. The moment the penthouse lights died, the entire city outside vanished with them. Manhattan disappeared beyond black glass while emergency alarms pulsed faintly through the floors beneath us. My breath caught sharply in my throat, but Adrian's hand found mine. Immediately. Warm. Steady. Certain. "Stay close to me," he said quietly. His voice remained calm despite the chaos spreading somewhere below us. Security radios crackled through the darkness from distant hallways, while backup generators struggled to come online. Faint red emergency lights flickered across the ballroom walls, casting long shadows over the marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Adrian moved me behind him instinctively as Luca entered the room at a near run. "The lower security system was breached," Luca said sharply. "We are locking down the east elevators now." Adrian's grip on my hand tightened once before releasing. "Get Vivian upstairs," he ordered, "and double the guards outside her floor." "Already done." Adrian looked toward me then. Even beneath the emergency lights, exhaustion still shadowed his face. But something else lived there now too. Fear. Not for himself. For me. "Come with me," he said quietly. He guided me through the dim hallways toward a private sitting room overlooking the river. The generators finally kicked in seconds later, restoring soft gold light throughout the penthouse, but the atmosphere remained tense enough to choke on. Adrian locked the door behind us before exhaling slowly for what felt like the first time all night. "Tell me the truth," I whispered. "How dangerous is this?" Adrian stared at the city outside the windows before answering. "Vincent Barone and my family have spent years pretending peace exists between us." His voice remained controlled, but the weight beneath it felt enormous. Men like Barone survive by destroying anything that threatens their control. And somehow I became a threat. Adrian looked at me carefully then. "You became important." The silence that followed pressed painfully against my chest. Somewhere beyond the walls, the city continued moving beneath rain and headlights and distant sirens. But inside that room, time slowed into something quieter, more fragile. "I never wanted any of this," I admitted softly. "I know." Adrian stepped closer slowly until only inches separated us. That is exactly why you still matter. His words hit deeper than they should have. Because for the first time since entering his world, I realized Adrian Moretti saw me differently than everyone else around him did. Not as leverage. Not as a weakness. Not as a problem to control. He looked at me like I was the first honest thing left in a life built entirely on survival. A sudden knock interrupted the moment. Luca opened the door slightly. The perimeter is secure again. Adrian nodded once. Good. Luca hesitated before adding quietly, Vivian is asking for both of you. We found Vivian resting near the fireplace upstairs wrapped in blankets while soft jazz played somewhere through hidden speakers. She looked tired but peaceful. The second she saw Adrian beside me, tears gathered quietly in her eyes. You stayed, she whispered. Adrian moved toward her immediately. Kneeling beside her chair like the powerful man the entire city feared suddenly became nothing more than a son again. Vivian touched his face gently before looking toward me. Your mother once saved this family by teaching us that love matters more than fear, she said softly. Do not let this world take that from either of you. 1 year later, the Moretti Foundation reopened the renovated ballroom where Vivian's birthday gala had changed everything. Sunlight spilled through crystal chandeliers while music drifted softly across polished marble floors. The foundation now funded music programs, shelters, and scholarships throughout New York under Vivian Moretti's name. I sat at the grand piano near the windows overlooking Manhattan, fingers moving gently across the keys while guests laughed quietly around us. For the first time in a long time, the city no longer felt cold. Adrian appeared beside me wearing a black suit without the heaviness that once lived behind his eyes. He looked different now. Lighter somehow. Human. His hand brushed softly against mine before he leaned closer. His voice low enough that only I could hear it. Stay beside me tonight. This time it was not a request born from fear or destiny. Just love. And for the first time since I met Adrian Moretti beneath chandelier light and rain-streaked windows, I realized powerful men do ask twice when they finally find something worth staying for.